Those did about the same thing as that cone that I put on top of the anvil. And they could make like a round ring to go around a water bucket,
Okay.
or anything that had to be, you know, fairly concentric and even all the way around. You could use it on, you could hammer against that horn. It's not solid. It's only about 1/4 or 3/8 of an inch thick.
So why does it keep its shape? Is it just not hot enough to bend compared to the hot metal that's surrounding it at the time?
Oh, very seldom does the hot metal really affect the tool that it's on because it's not there long enough.
Okay.
It just, if we had a fire on it, then yeah, we'd probably heat it up to the point where we'd spoil the tool.
Mm-hmm. But they're made of the same material, right? Everything is made of iron?
Not always. Sometimes the swage blocks were made of, I guess you might call it a white iron, like the surface of a railroad track, which was quite hard.
And what's the difference between iron and white iron?
The amount of carbon in the material.
Okay.
So just a soft, malleable iron would be heat treated and have a little bit different composition of carbon and some of the other elements in it.
Mm-hmm.
And any more sophistication of metallurgy is so refined that half the time when we get a piece of material, we have no idea what's in it. But some of the lower carbon steels are pretty easy to work with.
Okay. So the higher the carbon, the harder it is to work with because the harder the metal.
Yeah. And then when we get some of these alloys that have chromium and manganese
Mm-hmm.
and nickel and the tool steels, those are just impossible to hammer out. And those are manufactured by other processes rather than forging. But I've enjoyed this because it's an experience that you just don't get when you're going to college. You can study all the metallurgy you want to, but it's like the kids, they have to handle to get acquainted with it.
Right.
Same here. Playing with it, I've learned more than I ever did when I was an engineer. So it's kind of fun. But what I do tell the kids in regards to some of the materials, I show them some of the stuff that I brought in. And one thing I did have here, and this is kind of antique now. This is wrought iron. And they stopped making wrought iron. I think the last foundry that was doing this, in the United States, was early 1960 or so.
Really?
But if you look real close at it, you can see kind of a grain structure, almost as if it were wood. See, it's kind of stringy.
Mm-hmm.
And in earlier times, rather than refining the steel before it was rolled out, they would make wrought iron and they would have all the impurities in it, and they would just roll the whole thing out. And so the impurities would cause kind of a stretched or linear grain to the steel.
Was that a preferred aesthetic quality that people liked, or why did they do that?
There's a couple things that were real, well, it's a cheap way to make steel.
Okay.
Now we found more refinement to it.
Mm-hmm.
We can make better steel because this is so stringy that for some products it'd be almost impossible to make. But for a blacksmith, it works extremely well. We can pound it out, shape things, and a lot of the older tools were made with wrought iron, and then they take a chip of harder metal and they weld it to it so you can get a good sharp edge on the end of an axe.
Oh.
But the rest of the axe would be very tough, durable with wrought iron. One thing about wrought iron, which is kind of unique, which favored wrought iron, when it rusts on the outside.
Okay.
And it won't continue to rust all the way through. It can lay in the field for almost forever, and It'd be a very slow process of completely dissolving to the elements.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas modern steel will just rust and keep going until it's gone.
Right.
So it's kind of unique. So I try to show them that. But the other thing that a blacksmith, I'm not sure some of the younger kids really picked up on. But a blacksmith in early times would try to get any piece of steel he could, because it was just hard to buy raw steel.
Mm-hmm.
And he would use whatever was available to them. And even when the colonists came over, some of the ships that kind of sank or was wasted in the harbor, they'd go after all the iron that was on that ship
Mm-hmm.
and use it to make wheels, tools, knives, or whatever. One of the things they really liked to get a hold of was an old file, because the file, it had a percentage of carbon much higher than all the rest of the softer steels, because the file is used to erode the surface under their steel.
Right.
But we could also forge it, and we could mash it out and do different things with it. Is this a file or not?